right, folks, that is it. That is where I want to say a special greetings and welcome to all of you locked in live at this time. Welcome to the sport you got each and every Sunday. That is a Civic Vibes Sport. We are streaming this program live on social media. That is on Facebook and YouTube. And so each and every Sunday, just about that time, 6 o'clock, we welcome and appreciate your company each and every time. We're starting off the program with this one from Nasio Fontaine, our very own. He calls this one a new song. So welcome each and every one of you from Dominica, those from the region and or further afield. It's always a pleasure to have you in our company. That is the Civic Vibes team and our very esteemed guests every Sunday. We're gonna have yet another very informative, a very interesting program lined up for you guys this evening. And so all I ask at this time is that you keep it locked to the sport that you got. My name is Loftus Durant, just in case you don't know. Ably assisted by the man himself, Mr. Alvin Thomas, every Sunday. I want to thank him for his sacrifice. And the Civic Vibes team. Yes, those who are in the back doing that all arduous work, the Civic Vibes team, good evening to you guys in a very special way. And to you, yes, each and every one of you out there taking time off your Sunday afternoon to be with us. We do appreciate that indeed. So yes, it is 8 minutes past 6 o'clock, and yes, we gotta go. This evening's conversation, we're gonna have sort of a sports-oriented program. You know, Civic Vibes, we talk about each and everything, huh? So yes, sports is under the gun, as it were, this afternoon. And who is better to unpack some situations or some aspects of sports in Dominica? And yes, we'll be touching on our very own West Indies cricket indeed, than Mr. Ozzy Lewis. We're also expecting Brother Delvin Esprit to be in the house as well to share his thoughts, some of his thoughts. So yes, folks, that is it here. We're going to have this sports-oriented program with the man, Mr. Ozzy Lewis. And also we'll be expecting Brother Delvin Esprit to have his take sometime later in the program. Folks, the numbers to call into the program, they are 245-2396 or 615-9470. Again, let me repeat, 245-2396 or 615-9470. These are the two numbers to get your voice, your sentiments, as it were, into the conversation as we will be moving along. Without saying much more, today being the 20th of July, 2025, let me move across to my brother Alvin Thomas for his opening remarks indeed. Alvin.
Yes, Lofty, a pleasant good evening to you and all our many fans who have already logged into the program for yet another Sunday Civic Vibes. It's always a pleasure to have you guys. We see several of you have already logged in, and we want to say welcome, sit back, relax, have a drink, and enjoy the conversation. In a special way, I want to say a special good evening to my good old friend, Mr. Osborne Lewis, Ozzy Lewis. And Mr. Lewis and I go way back. That is someone I have a lot of respect for, high regard for. I consider him my mentor, someone I learned from as a young public officer, then joining the public service in terms of diction, language, writing. I mean, all of that I was able to learn from my friend Ozzy Lewis. So it's a pleasure really to have Ozzy here with us this evening. So welcome on board. In the usual way, we also want to extend condolences to folks who have lost loved one. We have an icon, a Dominican icon who passed away a day ago, Mr. Gary Ed of HHV Whitchurch. And I'm sure as we start the program, want to extend condolences, of course, to Mr. Ed family, his sons, Jason, and the rest of them, his wife, and all his family and the staff of HHV Whitchurch. But as we start that conversation, I think it's opportune too that Ozzy would share some knowledge that he have of Gary Ed was a sportsman. Gary Ed was a popular sportsman. I don't have as much of the details as Ozzy would be able to share. But yes, Gary Ed was a sportsman, played sports and supported sports. His company, HHV Church, was a strong supporter of sports in Dominica and continues to for many years. So I'm sure Ozzy would want to say a few words there on that and to say condolences to all the other folks who may have lost loved ones and those celebrating some anniversaries and birthdays to say to you, happy birthday, happy anniversary. So again, sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation.
All right, indeed, Alvin, thank you very much, my brother, for your opening salvo, as it were. And so, yes, I know Ozzy will have his take in just a while, but just before we go there in terms of, introducing brother Ozzy, who is no stranger to us in Dominica, by the way, and the region, let us just say as well, Alvin, special condolences to the Timothy family at this time. Just scrolling through social media yesterday, a well-known businessman, Dominica, Mr. Mikey, I believe, Timothy, yes,
that's right.
He passed away sometime yesterday, I believe, and so on behalf of Civic Vibes, the friends and loved ones at this time who are grieving as a result of his passing, we condole with you at this time in a very, very special way. This brother, I knew him, not very well, but well enough. I purchased stuff from him already, and so to his family, friends, all those who are mourning his passing at this time, we at Civic Vibes, we send some encouragement your way at your time of bereavement. Indeed, we also heard, Alvin, as it were, and Ozzy, a number of vehicular accidents yesterday in Dominica. At least, if memory serves me right, at least 4 accidents yesterday in Dominica, which I'm being told, subject to correction, one man may have lost his life, I think, in the Jimit area after vehicle accident. And so to his friends and family as well, once that is true, based on the sources I got it from, it most likely is true. We send our love and, encourage them as well. Sending some encouragement to Mr. Oprah Shillingford. That is the one of the reporters on Kyrie. He hosts this program with brother Peter Pross every Sunday. Entitled Anything Goes. I think he was involved as well in that accident in Jimit. I heard he's not doing too well, as to the effects of this accident, but we send our prayers, our love to brother Oprah Shillingford as well. And so all of the other persons who were involved in one way, shape, or form in all the accidents that, occurred across the country yesterday, we send our love and encouragement to you guys out there indeed. Many, many folks, they are sort of saddened at this time, Brother Thomas.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I also believe, if I recall while on that we heard former Minister Thomas Etienne. He was a minister.
Yes, he passed sometime, I think 2 weeks ago. Yes,
and I think he was buried yesterday. So, yeah.
And businessman Gary Ed, as you said, Gary Ed was a pillar, an icon, in the Dominican economy, an icon, and so his passing.
Oh yeah.
Based on what I know, it wasn't a shocker because he was ailing for some time. But we know death, as they say, is a thief that comes in the night. And so when that time really comes, then, even if we're expecting it, it is always a sad time to say goodbye to our very loved ones. It is. So to the Ed family at this time, we, sympathize and encourage you at this time. Gone, but for sure, his works will live on for a very, very long time in Dominica and beyond.
Yes.
Yes.
So, yes. So I guess we can welcome and
let me give you the honor, Alvin, of introducing your body, as it were.
Yeah. So it gives me a great pleasure on behalf of Civic Vibes and yourself, Lofty, to again say good afternoon to my friend Ozzy Luis, our friend, and to welcome him and Mr. Ozzy Luis. How are you, sir?
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Alvin Thomas. And just as a correction, it's C.O. Luis.
That's right. C.O. Lewis.
Not
Clifford Osborne Lewis.
That's right. Good to see you, Alvin Thomas.
Good to see you.
Thanks for the nice words that you've spoken about me. Of course, we go a long way, as I said, way back in the oil department. And I always knew you were a good protege, a man to go very far. And I was surprised that you have reached where you have reached in terms of your, you may want to call this a critic of many sorts, of many kinds. But you're making your serious contribution in public affairs and other things. So it's good to be with you in the panel once again, albeit sports being our focal point. And just to say that there's one, I thought you mentioned that people have passed recently, Jeffrey Brisbane.
Yes.
Well, a very recent, death, as we mentioned, this death. And here's Mr. Gary Ed. Yes, Gary Ed, of course, was a goalkeeper, Dominica goalkeeper, a very famous sportsman. So he was in the goal for Dominica as he played sports at a very high level. And he also was, as you said, contributing and his firm to the development of sports. And his whole life was based on philanthropy. He was a very kind guy who would give anything to develop sports or any cause. So, in fact, when I grew up as a little boy, I knew Gary Ed. I lived close to Gary Ed at Mount Bruce. Our family lived there for about a year or so while we were building our home at Newtown. So from almost childhood, I knew Gary Ed. So I want to really also give my condolences to his family in this time of bereavement. And there's somebody else, but anyhow, we shall, as time goes on, one or two persons may come to mind again. But Alvin, it's good to be with you. It's good to be Mr. Loftus Duran. Of course, Loftus and I go way back as well. He's a young man. I also admire his stance and his position in matters of, when it comes to certain matters of, I want to say, justice and matters in Dominica which deserve, some sort of treatment. And Loftus is a man always in the forefront. And Delvin asked me, of course, he's supposed to join the panel later, as I was told, but apparently he hasn't come yet. But Delvin and I go way back when as well. But it's a pleasure to be with you, Alvin Thomas, once again, and Loftus Durand, as we expect to have a very interesting program on Civic Vibes.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Brother Luis, for your very, very fine words. Indeed, we expect no less from the brother in terms of his diction, as Thomas said before, the articulation. Also, you are one voice in Dominica as it relates to sports or even justice as well. Persons like myself, we normally look to you in terms of you addressing certain matters. We know you to be this forthright gentleman. You speak your mind on certain matters, and so you are this sort of individual that when you speak, people will listen, and so your voice is no stranger to us in Dominica. Matter of fact, that voice, once it is heard, it is very peculiar a voice, and so we appreciate you. I think second or third time here on Civic Vibes.
At least the second time, yes.
Second time, yeah. So thank you very much, Ozzy. Thank you indeed.
Yes, indeed, yes. So do we just go into the topic right away, or?
Yeah, we delve into the topic, but first we want to just go back sort of, yesteryears, as it were. Let's go back, Ozzy. You grew up in Dominica as a young man, as you said, very much involved in sports in Dominica at all levels. Just give the Dominican people, those listening and watching now, a feel as to where our country, our beloved Whitey Kubuli, was as it relates to sports.
And let me add with that, and as we pay a little tribute to Gary Ed, try to tell us what you know of his performance in growing up then. The team he played with, other folks like I know Babs Dyer, and a whole bunch of them.
Yes,
so
yes.
in those early days, what just bring that in the conversation as well.
Okay, just as straight over, Gary Ed played for Blackburn, I think, in the football league here. And he was, as I said, an outstanding goalkeeper who played for Dominica. And I think Blackburn, the other club, I'm not sure whether, I knew he made his mark for Blackburn. And definitely remember him as a goalkeeper for Dominica. And he taught, I think, other people like Mr. Dyer and so on will be sure to know a little bit more about Gary Head's football prowess. But certainly, he was this goalkeeper for Blackburn, and also, as I said, he played for Dominica as a footballer. I don't think he was involved in cricket. I can't remember him, but I know him as a goalkeeper for sure. So we want to already pay tribute to him at this stage of his passing. Yes. Right. Sports in Dominica, well, I can go way back in sports in Dominica and in the West Indies as well, but just let's look at Dominica. There's no doubt that sports has declined considerably in Dominica in many ways. Football and cricket, the quality of cricketers you had before. For instance, the likes of Irving Shillingford and Lockhart Sebastian and Thomas Kentish. You haven't got that ilk again. You don't have that quality. Even at the West Indies level, people like Atanaz or Atanaz, as they say, he's playing test cricket. I mean, you can't compare Atanaz to, in my mind, he could never come even close to a guy like Irving Shillingford. Irving Shillingford, so many great batsmen in those days. Val Felix, who passed away recently, he was the captain of Dominica, probably the greatest batsman ever seen in Dominica. He was the captain of Dominica. He could have made the West Indies team. In our days, too, in the early days, a guy called Alec Reed, just remember, I could never forget this guy, who was probably one of the best wicketkeepers in the whole world. He and Val Felix were on West Indies trials in those days. In 1956, they were West Indies trials to pick a team to tour England in 1957. And everybody thought that Alec Reed was a shoe-in to make that team. But Val Felix probably had a little more problems because there were so many batsmen in those days that Val probably had a little problem in making it, but still he had a good shout at competing for a spot. But a guy called Alec Reed, you heard of him as a footballer, he was a brilliant footballer. If you had people like Alec Reed and Val Felix today, they will make a world team, in my opinion. And I grew up after that. I myself played for Dominica for a few years and the Windward Islands. And even then, when in those days, tournament, when you had Dominica playing St. Vincent, that was a big thing. The crowds at the Botanic Gardens. In those days, you played, they used to call it the tournament. People used to get half a day at school to come to watch the tournaments at the gardens. And you had certain characters. It was a great time for tournaments. These things have gone with time. And you don't even see people playing cricket like before. If you go along the coast, you'd see probably before, you'd see cricket matches all the time, guys, villages playing that village. Now you don't see that again. And really, I would say sports really has declined considerably. But I really want to go on to the West Indies and their position now in world cricket when we come to that. But on the local position, I would say that sports has declined. Football, cricket, basketball. Well, in my time, basketball have just started coming. But certainly, I could say without any fear of favor that things have declined considerably. The quality and the interest and the enthusiasm in sports, and even the administration of sports.
Yeah. What about Ozzy, the good old Windsor Park that we knew then in terms of the holding of matches, football,
yes,
cricket,
the Windsor Park then.
Yes, give us a sense there.
Yes, you had all the clubs playing in the Windsor Park, so at times you could have about at least half a dozen or 8 events taking one place one time. You know, you had people playing football on its side, several games at the Windsor Park. But since the Windsor Park has become just cricket alone, a cricket stadium, you have seen the decline in sports in Roseau, especially football, because the Windsor Park in those days, everybody went to the Windsor Park to play. You had several clubs playing. You even had Donkey Derby there and so on. You had so many different activities that, but since it has been solely for a cricket stadium and a lot of fetting as well around as well, you know. Apart from that, is that decline in cricket and football has been very marked indeed in Dominica. So
thanks for that intro, Ozzy. So let's stay there for a little while. Let's stay there for a little while. What do you think might have accounted for that decline that you just mentioned? You spoke about the decline in the quality of the sports and everything in general. What do you think may have accounted for that?
Well, I would say with the evolution of time, I guess the youth in general probably have more focus on more interests other than sports. I would say that. And they don't have that dedication, that discipline that sports really demands. So I don't think you had, like you had in those days, that concentration on developing even your own self, the development of self, as it was in my time, I would say, in sports as the last few years, especially last, let's say, 10, 15 years. So that, and also I don't think there's a administration really, you know, encouraging people to that extent. I don't think so as such. I think there's a general apathy, I use that term, apathy, towards sports. It's not really on the front burner as it used to be. Before, when the guy had to make the island team, it was a big thing. When the whole island was talking about it, everybody, you know, you looked upon as a hero. This guy's going to make a Dominica island team and represent Dominica. And there was a lot of sponsors behind him and so on. But I don't think you have that sort of passion, that enthusiasm.
Yeah, someone is saying there as well, Alvin and Ozzy, that we lost also the technical wing and the grammar school grounds as well.
Right, that's a very significant point. I remember in grammar school days, the grammar school grounds, the technical wing, you've lost that. I can remember even in a place called like the Hall, St. Gerard's Hall, we played on a concrete strip there. And a lot of young guys like the great Clem John in his time, many young batsmen grew up in that area in the St. Gerard's Hall yard, a concrete strip that we had, you know. And it just so everywhere you could, guys play on the sides of the road. I remember guys playing all kinds of sour oranges, anything they could get, but they engaged in sports and that discipline that it fostered. I don't think that is totally lacking today. But the point about saying technical wing is a good point as well. So there are no grounds that, but like football, there's nowhere for to play football, for instance. So that could account for it. That the Windsor Park, you can't go there and practice like before, you know, so it's out of bounds. So that has caused the decline in sports in Roseau Park as well.
So let me ask another question, Ozzy. Growing up in your time, was sports mandatory in schools and high school and local school? Was it mandatory?
Oh, yes, you had to play sports. I understand in some places sports is not mandatory at all, or sports is just, you know, you may or may not if you want. But, oh, yes, a lot of focus was put on sports. So you could, oh, yes, you had sports masters. I remember Dr. Clayton Schillingford was my sports master. Even before him, there was a guy called Mr. Watty, Erickson Watty, later. He was a teacher at the grammar school. He was also a sports master. And they devoted their time almost equally to academic lessons as to sports, Because I myself, when I went to grammar school, I said I must make the island team. And because of the interest and the drive you got, first of all, on the Newton Savannah I came from, and the school, because you had this, as I said, sports masters, you had sports every time. The grammar school that the team played on Thursdays, they had second division, first division. The grammar school had two teams, first division and second division teams played cricket.
Right.
And of course, they got sort of a powerhouse in football as well.
Right.
So it was a whole different focus, I would say. And, so here it is with time and,
I just want to say to you, we have your friend too, Joe Gies.
Oh, yes, Joe Gies.
Gies, as you know, was a popular sportsman.
Oh, yes, a very good batsman.
Dominica at cricket.
Football.
Island level.
Right.
Football, soccer for Harlem. So
yes.
It's good to see you.
Yes, Joe Gies was an outstanding sportsman. Oh, yes. It's good to hear about Joe Gies. So good to hear Joe Gies, man. He was a fine sportsman from Harlem. Oh, yes. Football and cricket. Oh, yes. These days, you don't have, as I said, that quality before. To me, I would say that, honestly.
So was sport considered the distraction, or there was no distraction and therefore sports fall in line?
Well, I would say that I never saw sports as a distraction. I saw sports as a complement, complement, complement to the overall.
With a capital C.
Yes, human development. I never saw it as a distraction at all. Because I myself, I think as an example, I think I applied myself equally to my academics as to sports. I saw sports, I could see where you could go with sports, the whole value of sports. And even now, right now, sports is a much bigger thing now, money-wise. In those days, you played for honor and glory. Even in the great West Indians, like Wicks, Royal, Walcott, these great men, Garfield Sobers, when they played cricket, a few pence they got. Today now, guys are millionaires, and their quality is like a pauper or a beggar.
Ozzy, you also did a stint in boxing as well. I heard you said sometime.
No, well, I never boxed myself, but bodybuilding.
Oh, bodybuilding.
Bodybuilding. Oh, yeah. Again, I saw bodybuilding as a form of development of the human person.
Okay.
Total development, because it would strengthen you, and bodybuilding is also a thing that could discipline you in what you eat, what you do in your recreation time, because you had to take care of yourself if you had to go and lift weights. So bodybuilding also was attractive to many young men in those days.
Yeah,
which you do.
Yes. Sorry about this. One person is writing here, says, Ozzy's right. Sports is almost on its deathbed. That person says, one of the greatest football team in the 80s, in the late 80s and early 90s was the Grammar Academites.
That's true.
Yes, that's true.
Grammar school.
Grammar Academites, Grammar School and Academy.
SMA.
Yes.
Yeah.
SMA, yes. Of course, there was no team to me like the Harlem Bombers, the days of Harlem and Kensborough, there were epic battles between Harlem and Kensborough in the 80s.
And the crowd showed up. We
would say Kensborough was the best, right?
People back the Kensborough, I guess is debatable. I guess I might be slightly biased. I guess I haven't got the records before me to go by the records. I can tell you, Alvin, these matches were epics by themselves. Harlem against Kensborough would draw thousands of people to the Windsor Park. You know?
No, you're right. I mean, even in cricket, remember those days in cricket, like you say, there would be time off where workers, school children would go to the
Oh, yes, you got offices were closed.
And then after the game, you would have a big band.
Yes.
The road. You remember that song? Bowl, Bami Bowl.
Dominica Bowl,
Kanaika Bawi.
I remember there were several versions of it as time went on. The
Right.
first version of it was Bowl, Bobby Bowl, Bobica Bowl, Puluska Bawi. Now, Bobby was Bobby Pemberton, who played for Dominica as a fast bowler in the 1950s or even the late 40s. And the fellow called Pulus Del Sol behind the stumps. But as time went on and different players came to the fore, you'll find the names have changed, but the tune remained, and the mortal tune even today.
Bull, Bobby Bull, Bobbica Bull, Puluska.
Then you had Bull, a fellow called Cochran, Bull, Cocky Bull. A fellow called Cock used to work at the town council. Town council guy called Jerome, I think his name was Jerome.
Right.
And they could call him Cocky. He was a fast bowler. He was a short, cocky melee.
Yeah.
The crowd is a short, cocky melee. With Dominica playing St. Vincent, you have 6,000-7,000 there. And a fellow called John Tato, you know, one of the greatest barrackers in the crowd, man, moving around. It was something else.
I know.
And Viet.
Yes.
And these were wonderful days. Wonderful days.
Yes, yes.
But I really want to get to West Indies and that debacle which we had last Monday. What will come to that?
We got some time still. We are really fresh into the program. So we'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay, fine. Yes.
It's good to go back and see where we were and what have caused us to be where we are today. Because I think it is while we reminisce on what transpired in the past, it's important for us to understand the impact and the positive impact that sports have on young people. And if we're losing that, then we kind of losing a generation. It builds discipline, it builds teamwork, it builds self-confidence, builds how do you deal with conflict resolution?
Conflict resolution.
How do you accept defeat?
Right. Very good point.
You know, all of those qualities comes from sports. And if we're not having that now, and like you said, if the facilities are not there and the administration is bad, then we have a serious problem. Our young people. And the question which remains in the end, which I'm sure we might get to, is what do we do? How do we change course? What can we do to change course?
You're quite right, Alvin.
So it's important that we look at what happened before.
Let me just read some comments there, just to persons are listening and they're commenting. This person comes back and say, in addition to what you guys were saying earlier, Harlem was better than Kensborough, and Kensborough was better than Harlem. I say that to say, only the result on a given day determine the better team.
True.
Well,
That's what that person says. Jogis writes, you know, I still remember those games back then. Back when Harlem, the vibe was different. Folks didn't have to say a word. They just looked at you like, you better not lose this one. And if we did lose, where the cold shoulder was real. Now, honestly, it was worth it. Because when we won, man, the adulation, the love, the pride, the way the whole place lit up, it was unforgettable. That's a comment from
Jogist. Well, he's quite right. The whole thing was like a whole community, you know, all of Newtown, Kings Hill, the whole of the South, even up to Lubia, Point Michelle. Everybody came down in their droves to watch these matches. And on Kensborough, we had the Rosa crowd, Pottersville, and from the north. It was really an epic clash, the type of which you're not going to see today. Take it from me. You're not going to see today. It was something else. Harlem against Kensborough.
Indeed.
Oh, yes.
Someone is asking another question of you, Ozzy. Ozzy, can you remember that Curtis Matthew was a super batsman who made the trials for Dominica national team?
Well, I can't remember Curtis playing island trials, but I know Curtis was a very keen sportsman. And I don't know him he was really threatening to make an island team. I don't know if it was that level, but I know he was a keen sportsman. So maybe the person might know exactly when that took place, that Curtis, in fact, was threatened to an island pick. I don't know. But I know he was a very keen sportsman in his time. Oh, yes.
So Ozzy, would you say, based on what you know now, what obtained then, part of it might be a lack of facilities, playing grounds, although like you said, in those days, young boys play on the street. They play with bat, they play with anything they could find. But at the same time, you had several playing facilities. The young men could go and develop the skill, develop the art. Do you say that could be part of it?
Well, yes, you need facilities, to really play the sports, but even then, the point remains that guys in my time would ensure that all around the island, even in the villages, St. Joseph, all these places had their little fields, and they would take care of their field and make sure they have grounds ready for matches. I can remember I played 7 matches in St. Joseph and other places around the island. You would go in the country and play, but I don't think you have that kind of impetus again. People going around the villages, playing villages and so on. I don't think that happens again today like before. And even people practicing cricket, you see people practicing on a day, like even at Pottersville, you see people practicing every afternoon from 4 to 6. But that ground, I don't think you can even use that ground again. It's out of commission for sport, isn't that so?
Yeah.
So there's no real emphasis on sports, you see. Sorry.
All right. Well, just to add here, the man himself, Curtis Matthew, has responded. Indeed, he says yes. He made the trials for he made the under-19 trials.
Under-19.
Yes.
I think he said the island team.
Yeah, Curtis is writing a national under-19 trials.
Yeah, I heard about it. Yes, at under-19, but I thought you had said making the island team.
Okay.
Because in those days, I think I knew almost everybody who made island trials. In those days, Loftus, island trials to play for the island team was a big thing, Crowds came to watch trials, and then you had the island team picked to play the rest, island against the rest. And big crowds came to watch that. That was like a big match in itself. So Curtis might have played, yes, the under-19 team. That is the youth team, but not the island senior national team. I don't think he was in that grade. I don't think so. So Chris corrected himself, I guess.
Yes.
All right.
All right, folks, it is 7:15. Those of you who are just tuning in now, we're talking to none other than Mr. Ozzy Lewis, no stranger to us in Dominica, involved in sports in Dominica on a number of levels. We are also expecting to have with us later another sports personality, that is Mr. Delvin Esprit. So we await his entrance right here very, very soon indeed. That is if he can make it, because he told me earlier that he was on some other engagement. So, but once he's off, he will get with us here indeed. Peter Carbon is writing here, sports is one of the foundations of character building. He adds here, the Woodford Hill playing field was abandoned after 20 years. The young people of today, he adds, have no facilities to organize sporting activities.
Peter Carbon is quite right. Yes, certainly. Well, that just strengthens the point. The lack of facilities. You must have grounds, to play cricket or sports in general in its playing fields.
All right, folks, what we're going to do now, just to introduce, as it were, the topic that I know is on the lips on Brother Lewis, that is the West Indies team and the performance of
the debacle.
Let me just punch here the West Indies theme song just before we get into that conversation, at least to sort of raise the awareness and the consciousness of all those who are listening at this time and who may listen in the future on this podcast. Let's just do this one. We'll be back in just a bit.
No noble cause brought us here to this region, but through it all, we have risen above. Through planet nights, flashing their willow and leather, these keepers of the flame must feel our undying love. This Caribbean nation is rising fast, a sunbeam cutting through a clouded past. A passion fills the world like a raging fire. As the sun shines, you know we can take it higher. Let every voice be raised. Everybody give praise. Rally, rally round the West Indies, now and forever. Rally, rally round the West Indies, now and
Yes, indeed. Rally, rally around the West Indies now and forevermore. Ozzy, I know you as a West Indian, and many West Indians, when we hear that song, what sort of emotions does that song evoke as a West Indian?
Well, it's a rally. The lyrics themselves tell exactly what it is. It's to rally around the West Indies, to put all your hopes and dreams and loyalty and behind them, and try to encourage them and to go on to big things as they used to go on before. But that song today, I think the rallying is probably falling on deaf ears because you're not achieving any, inspiration, any goal to satisfy the many fans. In fact, many West Indians are just totally mad about the performance of the West Indies teams these days, that some of them are just couldn't care less anymore to listen to the exploits, It's a pity because Loftus, I used to back the West Indies totally before, from 1950. 1950 was West Indies going to England and to beat England before all these huge crowds. After losing the first test match, they bounced back to win the second, the third, and the fourth. And they had people like the little pals of mine, Ramadine and Valentine. I'm giving you the great days, the glory days of West Indies cricket. Wicks, Worrell, Walcott. They call them the three terrible W's of world cricket. You had John Goddard, who was the captain. In those days, he was a West Indian white. No black man could captain the West Indies in those days. We'll come to that if you want to find exactly what happened to the West Indies. So the West Indies, in 1950, at Lord's, and there's a calypso made about it, Goddard won the test, or with something like, I'll get the exact words, is that Ramadine and Valentine, those little pals of mine, they were the spin bowlers, and they wrecked England before, in those days, the Queen or the King visited the Lords and saw the matches, and royalty. It was a big thing. In those days, early days of West Indies migration, people settling there to see the colonials come in to beat England at Lord's, the mecca of cricket, before the king and royalty. West Indies won right there. 1950, second test at Lord's, Ramadine and Valentine. That was the glory days of West Indies, part one. And then the West Indies became a team to be recognized. in those days. Cricket, I can say, West Indies first began in 1928. 1928, West Indies began playing Test cricket. So before the First World War, just after it, rather, they were a reasonable team, but they made their real mark. The first mark was in 1950 when they beat England before a huge crowd and the king and son, royalty, and hundreds of people. Calypsonians had a field day making the calypso. The Lord Beginner had songs about it, you know. God had won the toss. Yardley was the English captain. I remember as it was yesterday after us, I was a proud West Indian listening to that in those days. West Indies played against England and beating England had lost the Mecca of cricket in 1950. And after that time, West Indies became, they weren't the number one team in the world, but whenever you hear the West Indies, the brand of cricket, the way they played the cricket, attractive cricket, they drew crowds and huge crowds. And they were a respected team in the 50s. Come to about 55, the Australians came down here in 1955, and the West Indies were beaten badly by Australia. Australia was always superior to West Indies in those days. Australia beat West Indies, I think by 3-love or something like that. And that year distinctly, but still the West Indians gave a good account of themselves. A fellow called Clyde Walcott scored 5 centuries in that series. 5 centuries, we call it twin centuries in 2 tests, that's 4, and another century. 5 centuries in that series, Clyde Walcott. West Indies did not win a test match, but they had some great, I remember a partnership between a fellow called Atkinson, who was the captain in one of the test matches, and De Pisa put on something like nearly 400 for the 7th wicket partnership to save a test match. See the length at which they went to. That partnership parted for a day and a half almost, Atkinson and De Pisa, to save a test against Australia. And that's the year that Alec Reid from Dominica played the Windward Islands cricket and then trials to go back to England 57. They went to England 57. What happened? I don't think they won this series either. But Ramadan and Valentine weren't at their best. But then you had these people like Sobers, Canai, Butcher, Solomon from 1960. When they went to Australia again in 1960, there was a famous tied test match. I'm saying, are you with me, Loftus?
Yeah.
Yes, we are there. We're there. We're just listening.
We are in you. We are.
I see that I've lost the picture now.
Yeah, your video went down, but your audio is still there. Check your camera and see what might have happened.
Yes, Balan, the video went a bit, but I can hear your voice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just need to turn back on that camera and you should be fine.
Yes, so I see the light has come back on. My technician, Marlon, is helping. She saw it out pretty soon.
Also, I think we also have Brother Esprit. Esprit, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yeah? You said?
All right.
But I can hear them still.
Yeah, we hear it. Let's see.
Yeah, I can see you again.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
You're
Thank
back.
you, Madam. Yes.
You're back
yes.
in business.
We're back
All
in
right.
business.
Just put that.
Camera a
Just
little
tell
lower.
Marlon put the camera a little.
Tell Marlon bring the camera a little lower so we can see your face.
Bring the camera a little lower to see my face.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
yes.
It's a bit too high, Marlon. That's it.
Yes. Just a little lower.
No, the other way.
Down, bring it down.
Down.
Right.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you, Marlon. My technician, Marlon.
Right.
Yes,
And,
let's say
also,
now,
as Marlon is there, can Marlon put on a little light in your area so you could, kind of bring out a little
light. Yeah, the light is on,
Oh, it's on. Okay, well, that's fine.
Yes.
All right,
The
but
light
as
is
we
on.
delve in, Ozzy, let me just chip in a bit to just say a hi, good evening to Brother Esprit. Esprit, good evening, sir.
You unmute, Delvin, you unmute. Unmute your mic.
Just unmute.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, great. Well,
All
I
right.
want to say good evening to you, Loftus, and also Ozzy and whoever on the panel. And so, sorry for joining so late, but I'm there.
All right, good man. So Ozzy is delivering still, so you just listen on and you can chime in when
Yes.
need be. But thanks.
Okay. Let me say hello to my good friend Jabon, Delvin Esprit. Welcome to the program. Okay, Delvin?
Thanks, Ozzy.
Oh, okay. Right. So I was just giving a background West Indies came from. Around the 1950s, 60s, I was giving the evolution of the team that became one of the greatest teams, certainly between 76 and 1990. That period, that 15-year period, West Indies was the #1 team in the world when they had the fearsome foursome, Andy Roberts, Joel Garner, Malcolm Marshall, Colin Croft, and that ilk. I mean, no team could stand up to the West Indies. They beat England 5-0 at least 2 or 3 times in that period. Even Australia were beaten by the West Indies team of that era. West Indies were #1 in the world without any doubt. Powerful team. And even after the time, you had people like Ambrose and Courtney Walsh, the great Viv Richards on the scene. And after Richards, you had Larrell. You can't name a great batsman today on the West Indies team. A team that produced such great batsmen through the years, you know? And then to be all out in the last test match for 26, we'll come to that 26. You know, that is really a debacle.
Magic number.
Yes, but the point remains, when they were 26 for 6 one time, I said to myself, don't tell me that they're going to tie with New Zealand for the lowest ever score in Test cricket, which is 26, scored by New Zealand in 1955 against England at their home in New Zealand. You know, that has remained the lowest score in Test cricket for all those years. Just to let listeners know, Test cricket has been around for 148 years, Alvin and Loftus. 148 years Test cricket, right? And the West Indies are playing since 1928 Test cricket, right? And I gave you the evolution from the days of Wicksworth Walcott, the days of Ramadine and Valentine, the days of Sobers and Kanai, Butcher, Solomon, Westwall, Charlie Griffith. Those great, even then, they might have not been #1, but they will not below #3. Every team looked forward to playing the West Indies. They're the most attractive team with the greatest players. They played all county matches. All the counties wanted West Indians. From the Lancashire League, West Indians were being contracted to play. All of them were great. And then until you had this, I say about just about the coming to the inception of the 1990s, there's a drop in West Indies cricket, which has never, ever stopped. There's been the odd match here and there, but the West Indies never, in fact, were a dominant force in cricket after that. And
all right, Ozzy, just before you go to the demise, as you saw it back then, it is 7 o'clock. We normally take a break at this time, but when you come back, we want to introduce Mr. Esprit on the mark, 7 o'clock hour mark, so that we can get his take as it relates to, or his seat now on the West Indies performance of late as well. All right, so let's take that all important.
And of course, when we come back after the break, we definitely want to look at what was the winning formula then, and what is it that we do not have now.
All right. Okay.
I want to look at that.
Yeah, good. Okay, good. Fine. Yes.
All right, let's take that all-important break at this time. We will be right back in just a bit. Let's take that all-important break, folks. We'll be back. Thank you for those of you who are here with us tonight. We always and truly appreciate your company each and every time, indeed. All right, let's do this one. We'll be right back in just a bit.
touch and illusion. Lost in their illusion.
This one he calls Vain Thoughts.
Full of confusion. Seeking a solution.
The man Nasio Fontaine.
Headed to destruction. Lord, Lord. Trapped in their illusion. With their minds full of confusion. Seeking for solution. Man, they're headed to destruction. Let me tell you like, they like the wax that is built at the foot of fire. They like the chaff that is driven by the wind. These are the children who run astray. Lord, Lord, Lord.
So, folks, just in case you're tuning in at this time,
Couldn't seem to find their way back home.
so you're talking to two sports icons in Dominica, Brother Esprit and Mr. Lewis.
Where their heads full of confusion. They're seeking a solution.
That is what this Civic Vibes program is all about, huh?
Destruction.
So this, so we are multi-dimensional.
Where they're
Yeah, we speak about everything, including sports, huh?
seeking a solution.
So tonight is that night.
And they're headed to destruction.
After that track, we're going to take some of the highlights of the third day of the third test. Where basically, the West Indies team collapsed.
Whoa, whoa, yeah.
So we'll jog back your memory, show you some highlights,
I guess the
and then continue to get the thoughts from Mr. Ozzy and Brother Esprit.
in their thoughts, seeking rest and finding on. Oh, their eyes shall see, for their minds shall not overstand it. Confounded in their ways, signs and
So all of those of you on the YouTube channel, good evening to you.
fire.
It's 4 minutes past 7 o'clock in Dominica and our regional space, and you're tuned into Civic Vibes, a program produced from Dominica each and every Sunday. Tonight, our focus is sports.
Lord, Lord,
So all of you sports-oriented men and women out there, including the young people,
astray.
tonight conversation should be yours indeed. Own it, yes? Own it.
And I couldn't seem to find your way back home. Hard to know.
So yes, let's cut this one whilst we try to put on screen at this time the highlights of day 3 of the third test between the West Indies team and Australia. We're going to try to load this one, just take some highlights, and we'll be back for the continuation of the discussion pretty soon. Let's see if we can get this one on screen.
Day 3 of this third and final test between the West Indies and Australia is here at Sabina Park in Kingston, Jamaica, with the sun beating down. And we've had a fascinating contest. One, Australia were bowled out for 225. The West Indies replied with only 143. And Australia in trouble in their second innings at 99 for 6 with Cam Green still there. But the lead is 181.
Oh, he's gone through him. First ball of the day. Wow, what a start. Cameron Green lets the first ball go and it cannons into his off stump.
You cannot script this any better. First ball, first wicket of the day, a little nitbacker, top of off, Shamar Joseph again. Cam Green going for a valiant 42. Australia 99 for 7.
Tickle down the leg side. It's either off the bat or off the thigh pad off the thigh pad, so leg byes given, but 4 more runs to the Australians. That lead 185. Oh, good short one. Wow. Another one goes. Aussies have lost their 8th.
Another rip snorter from Alzari Joseph. Could only fend it. The waiting hands of Kevlon Anderson. And for Pat Cummins, that's unlucky number 13. He's Alzari Joseph's 13th wicket for the series. The most in a single series for him. The Aussies, 105 for 8.
Oh, that's hit well from Mitchell Starc. He is a clean hitter of the ball.
There it is, bang on target. Absolute chaos this young man is causing in Test match cricket.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant, Shamar Joseph. He loves this opposition. Yeah, and it's the build-up to this. Previous delivery short, this one full, fast, and straight at those stumps. Brilliant from Shamar Joseph. What execution. Scott Boland walks back for 116 for 9.
It's valuable runs, valuable for Australia. The lead is now 202, 120 for 9. That is the end of that. Bang on target, and the bowlers have kept the West Indies in the contest. 13th wicket in the series for Alzari Joseph, the most he's ever picked up in a series, and these are his best figures in Test match cricket. Well deserved 5 for 27. His second 5-wicket haul, and if ever someone has bowled well enough and the figures reflect it, it is this time.
This is what has impressed me most about Alzari Joseph this innings in particular. He's still ball short, he's still being hostile, but he hasn't been afraid to pitch it up and bring the stumps in play.
They need 204. But 141 and 143 have been the 2 fourth inning scores for the West Indies in this series. They have to make a better fist of it this time. Starc, will he find swing? Brilliant start, outstanding start, the perfect start. Wow.
Yeah, made that 397 Test wickets now. What a beauty to get first up. Josh English wearing the gloves today because Alex Carey did not pass the fitness test. Remember, he was struck on the helmet yesterday. Easy take for him, but John Campbell, what a beauty to get first up. Could not respawn. Was back for a golden duck. 0 for 1.
That's gone, that's the one, that's the swing. Starc again, 2 in his first over. 400 is on the horizon. 398 for the pink ball master. He's going to review it.
We've got pitching in line, impact in line, no shot. And wickets is hitting. Nitin, you can stay with your original decision of out. On screen signal now.
By the time he saw the replay on the big screen. Decision at held. Mitchell Starc has 2 in the first over and not yet a score on the board. Kevlon Anderson was back without scoring. 0 for 2.
Knocked him over! 3 in the over! Back to back! It was predictable. He is a great 399 Test wickets for Mitchell Starc in his 100th Test match. We are lucky to see him.
Now this is absolutely beautiful bowling. top class seam bowling from Mitchell Stark. The best to do it with a pink ball in hand. My gosh. Guard your stumps, Ian Bishop said. West Indian batters just have no answer for what Stark is putting on show. Brandon King walks back for another knock. 3 wickets down, not a score yet.
And then you have this guy from the other end who's just relentless.
That's a huge shout. It's given its 400 test match wickets for Mitchell Stark. He joins the legendary Shane Warne, McGrath and Nathan Lyon in the pantheon of Australian greats. 4 wickets for him in this innings. 400 in total in his centennial test. Unbelievable. Warmly applauded from the rest of his teammates up on the balcony. Ball pitching, swinging back, getting past the defensive bat of Mikhail Louis. Up he went, and he didn't have to wait too long for the response he wanted from the umpire. And look at his emotions. How much it means to him, to the support staff, to the team, and indeed to everyone watching back home in Australia. 5 not. Mikhail Louis goes for 4, and the score remains at 5 for 4. You heard that right, folks. 400 test wickets for Mitchell Stark, and he's not done yet. Huge shout again. Mitchell Stark again. This is amazing. There is a review though, so we'll have to wait for confirmation.
Pitching in line, impact in line, wickets hitting. Mitten, you can stay the original decision of out. On screen, signal now.
So the dreaded finger goes up and Shea Hope has to depart for 2. The West Indies now 7 for 5.
Graceful, really elegant from Graves to get off the mark.
All right, so folks, in the interest of time, that is where we want to cut it here. It's 15 minutes past the hour of Graves 7 o'clock. Let's get back to brother Ozzy Lewis and Mr. Delvin Esprit, who are our guests for tonight as we continue to deliberate on the West Indies' dismal performance, indeed, the last test against the Australians. Brother Esprit, let's pull you into the conversation as we get going.
Yeah, good evening to you.
Based on what you heard and saw.
Well, basically, what I heard and saw in terms of what Ozzy said in terms of the tradition of West Indies cricket, as you know, that the West Indian population is a very population that the word West Indies really come from all the Caribbean people and so on joining together. And cricket is what that really united us in terms of sports in the Caribbean. And the performance of the West Indies team there recently there is really, really a dismal performance, as you can say. Not only dismal, you can say, but an unforgettable performance from the team. In 2025, for a test team to be outing for 27 runs lofty, it's really not a good sign at all. Maybe you could talk about in the earlier days and maybe when people were just starting to play cricket, but now at test level for a test team to out for 27 in the second innings at home in front of the home crowd. Very shocking this first.
Yes, indeed. Very, very shocking indeed. Ozzy, your take based on, what you heard from Brother Esprit.
Yes, well, I mean, Delvin is right. I mean, the West Indies cricket means a lot for the community or different communities in the West Indies. That is something they pride themselves about. That is something that made sure that the West Indians felt world class. I was giving a little rundown of the great days of West Indies, the glory days of West Indies cricket. In their days, they were the champion team, and all around the world, West Indians could lift their heads very high indeed. And one of the proudest moments is that the West Indians were beating the colonial masters at the game that they learned the game from the masters and would beat them at their homes repeatedly and convincingly. And right now, to be suffering such a debacle is shocking. The West Indies, as I was saying, has for the most time since their 1928 debut in international or Test cricket. I mean, they have had their ups and downs, but never that type of dismal performance. As I said earlier, 26 runs scored. That's the lowest score in 148 years of Test cricket, scored by New Zealand at Auckland. That was in 1955 or 57, around there. The lowest score for many years. And West Indies just eked a run past the 26. And the only reason why they went more than 26, I remember clearly, there was a misfield by the young guy, the open batsman, Stan Scott, whatever his name is. He misfielded the ball to get that single for the West Indies to go past New Zealand's dubious record. So West Indies ended up being out for 27, which is shocking. And really, all the West Indians are very, very annoyed. People are calling for heads to roll. The reaction among the West Indies is one of something must be done about that. It can't be things as usual. And so there must be some investigation and some kind of solution to avoid, never ever repeat that dismal performance of being out for 27 runs in a Test match.
All right, Delvin, some persons are blaming Sammy, they're blaming the West Indies board, some people are blaming the players themselves. Delvin, how do you see it?
Well, you have a lot of people to blame, and the blame started in terms. Well, I describe the West Indies board, and I don't want to use a harsh term there because I've been using a very harsh term to describe the West Indies board, because I believe that that board, there's a group of mercenaries that take over West Indies cricket and they bring it in no direction and so on. I can understand if mercenaries take over a board and so on and doing well and so on and have big plans and for things to work out very nicely and so on. I wouldn't mind that. But for you to take over the West Indies cricket and so on, this group of guys like Shalu and them, and comment and appoint Sammy as the head coach. And not only that, but giving one man the power that never happened in West Indies cricket. All the success in West Indies cricket, that West Indies always have what they call selectors, a panel of selectors. The selectors meet, and then they meet with the coach and so on, and they have a discussion and they pick a team and so on. But you're giving one man all that authority and so on in terms and then the worst of it all is that Shadow coming on a program and talk about that is because Sammy from a small island. And to me, that makes no sense at all. And he should apologize for that statement, because we always say about the big countries and the small countries, but it's the West Indies. So whoever is there and so on that have to be helping to develop our cricket and so on should be going that way. What happened to the West Indies team is that we had Andrew Coley as the last coach. Was doing a pretty good job with the team. They went to Australia. They won a match in Australia after 27 years. They went to Pakistan under difficult condition and so on in Pakistan. They drew the series 1-1. They had a number of young players, including our two Dominicans, trying their best and so on, fighting, but playing Test cricket, that means red ball cricket, and doing their best and so on. And after these guys performed that level in Australia and also in Pakistan, did pretty well. 6 months after, there's a Australia team going to the Caribbean, and out of those guys that was selected and so on, none of the guys, a matter of fact, only 2 or 3 guys retained their pick on that team and so on. You just bring a set of white ball players to play red ball cricket, and it has been backfire on Sammy. And personally, I just think that the board and Sammy and so on should, somebody do what you see in the Caribbean lofters. And we always say that, and I'm a straightforward guy and so on. You hardly hear guys resign from the West Indies board. When last do you hear a guy from the West Indies board resign? Because that board is always supposed to be a very good time board where guys having a lot of benefits and guys never resign. It doesn't matter what happened, nobody resigns.
Let me ask you, not tripping you, just hold your thought. We are not seeing you, we are hearing you. Is that intentional?
Well, I wouldn't say it's intentional, because I know everybody know my face and so on.
Well, no, but we prefer to see your face, man. We prefer to see your face. So if you can do that first, we'd be grateful. Yeah, perfect. Yes. Yeah, you may continue.
Yeah, because what I'm saying, Lofty, is that these guys and so on, in terms of what they did there, they bring us back in terms of where we were and so on. And I was talking about red ball cricket and white ball cricket. And then to pick a group of guys and so on to play red ball cricket in a short space of time, and to give Sammy to coach the whole free format. Like, Sammy is so much of a great coach. I really think is really setting the series cricket back. And the board now will have to reconsider the decision in terms of what they did there. And something has to be done, because we can't continue like that. They might come to play tonight and play in the 2020 and do well, and they might just think everything is just washed under the cover. But that is not the way it has been done. Somebody have to figure out. And so, something, some things have been done wrong. We left out Ali Afanaz, we left out Calvin Hodge and those type of things. We were trying to build a young team to play red ball cricket. We put all those young guys aside and so on, and then we bring experienced players that play in white ball cricket, and now we are suffering the consequences for that. So I don't know. Now they have to consider now maybe bring back those young guys and so on, and build a red ball team for the future, because we cannot continue like that. But Lofty, my main concern, and I have to throw that to Ozzy, is that West Indies team I'm seeing now playing Test cricket. I'm not seeing not one Test team now that the West Indies can score maybe over 250 runs against now with that type of batting lineup they have there.
Ozzy, your take.
Thank you,
Delvin.
Yes. Hello, Delvin. Good to see Delvin press free.
Yeah, you too, Ozzy, you too.
I can understand where Delvin is coming from. And the question of Sammy being the head coach and being the lone selector. I mean, that alone is something I've never heard before. There's always a selection panel. Now, this man is the lone selector. And what I don't understand at all, that this team, when they picked the team for Australia and they named a vice captain, I couldn't understand how they could name Warrican as the vice captain, because this is a man who's not a certainty on the West Indies team. And the irony is they picked him, and when they had to play the third test match, Australia realized it's a pink ball cricket, day-night cricket, pink ball. They left out the great off-spinner, Lyon, who was taking nearly 600 test wickets, and played the other pace bowler, who is Boland, a pace bowler. And West Indies now decided to drop a pace bowler and pick a spinner. The exact opposite. This, to me, summed up the whole nonsense taking place in West Indies cricket. How could Warrican even be made vice captain? You can't have a vice captain, first of all, who's not commanding a pick on the team, because the conditions may not suit a spinner. You bring him back because he's vice captain. You dropped Anderson Phillip, who's a good fast bowler, who played well in his second test match, and you're bringing back the left-hand spinner because he's the vice captain. The man hardly bowled 10 overs in the 2 test matches he played. That, to me, was a howler. And the question of Sammy being the lone selector is ridiculous. You can't invest in one man all that power to pick selection. That is ridiculous. And as he said that the West Indies team, you didn't expect them to beat Australia, but they have to be more competitive than that. Nobody expected the West Indies to beat Australia in a series. If they expected that, that would be nonsense. Australia is still the number 1 team ranked in the world. West Indies is number 9 team ranked in the world. But they expect them to probably win 1 test match and make it competitive. But from the time they picked their 16, as they were saying, were more white ball players, and they tried